Yeah, this is so cool. So what is the best way to coil a rope? At first, you might think that wrapping it around your arm is the way to go. And that's a good start. But if you do that and then just drop your rope and pick it back up, this is what you're left with. Man, there are so many twists in my rope. Okay, so the savvy amongst you will tell you that rock climbers, they curl it like this. And while that's much better than the first technique, if I just drop this and pick up the rope again, this can still happen. So the only real way to coil a rope, which will guarantee that you won't get any tangles or twists, is actually not to coil it at all, but to do what we call flaking, which is just the act of taking a bag and dropping the rope in it. When you take the rope out, it just comes out smoothly and you won't have any tangles. So if you've ever gone highlining, you might have been the unlucky noob that got tasked with putting away the tagline at the end of the day. You were probably given the smallest bag possible, and then you proceeded by spending the next half hour of your life putting little arm lengths into the bag. And that's why I created the flaker. And it'll do any rope up to 6 millimeters. Yeah, this thing, it's such a joy. It's hard to describe how much of an epic feeling this is. And then the best part is once you let go, it just turns off. So you don't damage your rope that way. So what is the flaker? Essentially, the rope enters through here, and you have a little opening on the side. So this is the only place the rope can either come in or out of. Once it's in, it's forced to divert because of this wheel, and then it comes back and it comes out in this angle. And the more you squeeze with your finger, the more you squeeze onto the rope. Now, there's only one motor that turns one wheel, but then the gears on the wheel make the other one turn as well. So they interface with each other. That way the rope is being pulled by both wheels at the same time. The arm is spring loaded, so as soon as you remove your thumb, it stops squeezing the rope. And there's a little limit switch over here so that it turns on and off as soon as you press it and then release. So that's all in the idea of making sure this doesn't spin freely if there's a knot or a bunch of rope that gets like stuck into the wheel so that you don't burn it. Okay, let's open it up. On the inside, it uses three 18650 batteries. So these are the same batteries you'll see in e-bikes, electric skateboards, vapes. They're pretty easy to find. You can buy them online. Otherwise, you can disassemble a board or something. And the device is rechargeable with USB-C. Behind the batteries, you have a holder, which is soldered into the charge board for the batteries. That is connected to a switch on the side. And then it's also wired to the limit switch. Basically, anybody with a soldering iron and some basic tools like pliers and cutters is gonna have no problem recreating this. You're gonna start off by buying everything that's on the list in the description and printing the files. I printed it in, this is in PLA and this is in PETG. Both would work, and obviously any of the more advanced materials would work as well. For the wheels, you actually have three sizes, small, medium, large. And I printed mine in TPU. You could do PLA, but the main idea is that you want to have as much grip as possible. So I went through all sorts of different designs. I even tried fuzzy skin. But really what reigns king is using an old bike tube. So using the rubber, cutting it up into a rectangle, and then gluing it. And I used contact glue for that, contact cement. but you could use probably all sorts of different types of glues. Step one, you'll take one of the wheels and the skateboard bearings, and those just slide in pretty snug. And then the wheel is going to go inside of this, and I have a 3D printed thread, you know, like a bolt. And what you might want to do is actually beforehand free up the threads and make sure the tolerances are good. So you put the wheel inside the arm, and then the bolt goes in and gets screwed in. Like so. After that, you can take your rod and put it inside the 3D print. In my case, I've already done it. I'll leave it there because it was really tight, but I've loosened up the tolerances, so yours should slide in really well. For the motor, super straightforward. It's just 2 bolts, and that's it. The motor goes there, screw in the bolts, screw in the nuts, that's it. The wires are actually, the wires, they actually come out from the bottom, but I rerouted them back up and they go inside of the casing. Let me show you the wiring. It's actually really simple. This is battery minus, this is battery plus. Minus plus, it's soldered. Minus plus, soldered. Minus plus. And the plus comes out into the board. Then this has to balance the batteries so that when you charge, it charges the 3 of them equally. So you have battery 1 connected to the end of the first battery, battery 2 connected to the second battery, and that's it. Here's a close-up of the board. Heads up, when you're soldering this, you want to be extremely careful to not put too much solder. The board was designed, it's not the highest quality board, let's say, and it's really easy to kind of get a little too much solder and then for the components to start arcing. And then the board is just not gonna work well and you're gonna have issues. And if ever you have issues where it's not turning on or off, it's probably because it's burnt and there's a problem. But one thing you can do is you can short battery minus and then the output power minus. You just take any piece of wire and you touch them together and nothing's gonna happen, but it's just gonna, I don't know what it does. I guess it resets the board or something and then it works. After that, you got power minus and power plus, and that's gonna go into our main device. I really wish I would have restarted from scratch and then showed you step by step how I did this. But I hope my explanations are clear enough that you'll be fine. So now you've got your board and all you're missing is power minus, power plus. Essentially, power minus is going to go directly to the motor. Power plus is going to go to the button. Button's going to go to the limit switch. And then the other side of the limit switch. So the limit switch has 3 prongs. So it's the first and the second that you solder. And then the second goes to power plus of the motor. The power is rerouted through your buttons. If you turn it off, everything is shut off. And then the same power then gets routed to the limit switch. So that too either turns on or off the motor. So both of them have to be on for the motor to run. Now that you've got everything wired, just slide it in. And you're ready for the next step. You take the spring and then bend it 90 degrees. And the way I do that is by taking basically 2 pairs of pliers. And I can't find my pliers, but imagine I had a second pair of pliers and then I just come in here and bend this as much as possible, 90 degrees. Then you're gonna wanna cut the spring so that it fits inside the little groove on the underside of the arm. Yeah, one small detail as well is, so you see how the spring, I've kind of bent it outwards. You might have to do that depending on how easily the spring goes inside its groove. put on the spring, it fits inside a little hole in the print. And then you're gonna insert the arm and put your collar at the same time. So you're going to push the spring into the groove. And as you push down on the arm, you have to kind of help it for the limit switch. So it clears the limit switch. As you kind of apply some pressure, you screw in the collar. And that's it. Put on your wheel and you're ready to go. So if you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much. It's really appreciated. I put a lot of effort into this. I think I'm at version like 48 on Fusion. I hope it gets used. I hope people like it. You know, this is open source, it's free, so feel free to take it, make it your own, come up with a completely different idea. So just stay tuned and I'll probably end up doing some other cool stuff.